It's a state submerged in lawlessness, and yet another example coming to for a bizarre incident of firing reported in Allahabad. A lawyer in a fit of rage opened fire on a crowd, critically injuring a student leader. This is how the incident happened. You can see it on your television screen. The lawyer, along with his friend, went to a house to evict the members. The female members of the house accused him of sexually harassing them, following which there was a fracas between the two groups. And this is the angry lawyer pulling out his gun and opening fire at the crowd that had gathered, injuring one person grievously. The question that comes out of this incident, which took place in broad daylight in the heart of Allahabad, is it is the rule of gun in Uttar Pradesh. Isn't it a stage completely submerged in lawlessness? Who stands to take responsibility of a state that is being pushed into complete anarchy?
उस आदेश के क्रम में पुलिस की मांग की गई थी। कोर्ट के अमीन आए थे, मकान खाली करा रहे थे, पीसफुली कार्रवाई चल रही थी। जो उसके ऑक्यूपेंट थे वो भी सहयोग कर रहे थे और स्वयं भी वो उस खाली करने में मदद कर रहे थे। इसी बीच कोई एक अधिवक्ता आए और उन्होंने फायर कर दिया। जो फायर जो है कोई बगल से गुजर रहा था, उसको लग गया। पुलिस मौके पे है, कार्रवाई हो रही है, एफआईआर हो रही है और शीघ्र ही उसमें जो दोषी हैं उनको पकड़ा जाएगा।
Who takes responsibility of this state which is slowly being pushed to the brink of anarchy, open gun culture? Right now, an incident coming to the fore from Allahabad. I'd like to cut across at this point of time for a quick spot update. Amir Haq on the phone line with us. We'll also connect to various people in administration of Uttar Pradesh. This is an Insta debate that we want to put across, where we'll be putting pertinent question to the people who should have answers, especially for our viewers who are watching the special broadcast. An incident like that in broad daylight, audacious with impunity, where one man opens fire. Amir is with us at this point of time. Amir, can you give us a quick spot check exactly what happened?
Well, Preeti, absolutely shocking visuals these. This lawyer, in fact, had gone there to take possession of a piece of land which was handed over to the actual owner of the land recently on 7th of February. He also was being escorted by a police team there. And this piece of plot happened to be in one of the most posh areas of Allahabad, in civil lines area. When the people who were occupying this piece of land, with who had put up their hutments over there, they started objecting to certain snide remarks being passed by people who had gone there to take possession of the land. When this lawyer there started firing indiscriminately.
Right, stay on with us. Amir, just stay on with us. We are joined at this point of time by Rajesh Yadav, SP City, Allahabad. He joins us. We also have Lakshmikant Bajpai, BJP State Chief. You're going to go across to Mr. Bajpai in just a minute. I want to take a quick reaction from Mr. Yadav, the SP City, Allahabad. Mr. Yadav, what does this have testimony to? It is the policing in Allahabad. A man openly, shoots at people. What's going on?
No, ma'am. Actually, there was a compliance was taking place in accordance with the order of the court, and there were the persons of the court employees were present there.
Okay.
And the occupant of that land, they have themselves vacated the land on the compliance of the court order. But meanwhile, the advocate came with some their fellows, and there was some scuffle. And during the scuffle, there was a hot scuffle, and in hot day, advocate started firing. One fellow accompanying the advocate, he was injured, and he was with the advocate and with them, and he got sustained bullet injury in his stomach. He has been admitted in hospital, and the treatment is going on. And one person who was accompanying with the advocate who was firing, he has been arrested by the police along with the licensing weapon.
So I request you to stay on with us. You're saying this is an incident in isolation, but doesn't it give testimony to the larger picture of the state of affairs of Uttar Pradesh at this point of time? Mr. Bajpai from the BJP is also on the phone line with us. Mr. Bajpai, it's the rule of the gun when it comes to Uttar Pradesh, a classic example right now that we are showing on our television screens. Bajpai ji, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है? All right, we seem to have lost. We're going to try and connect to Mr. Bajpai from the BJP, but we still have Amir Haq with us, who's going to talk us through this news that we are tracking very closely. Now, these visuals recorded just about 2 hours ago from the heart of Allahabad. Brazen, audacious, and done with impunity. Let's listen in to the reactions we are getting in from the spot.
पहले तो लोगों ने हम दोनों को छेड़ने की कोशिश की, छेड़ रहे थे, उसके बाद हम लोगों को दौड़ा लिया गया, उसके बाद हम लोग के ऊपर 5 गोली चलाई। ये बताइए, मर जाते तो क्या करते? कौन लोग थे? राहुल सिंह, यहाँ का वकील, हम लोग का, हम लोग की 27 को डेट थी, उसके बाद ही वो पहले से खाली करवा रहा है हम लोगों को। क्यों ऐसा क्यों है?
All right, let's get in a reaction. Vikram Singh, former DGP UP, joins us at this point of time. The question I ask you, sir, Uttar Pradesh at the brink of lawlessness, an incident like that in the heart of Allahabad in broad daylight.
The brazen manner in which the advocate, brandishing his pistol and moving like Rambo across the court premises, speaks volumes about the deteriorating law and order situation. I strongly advise the Allahabad authorities to book this person and all of his cohorts under the National Security Act and the Gangsters Act. This might send some confidence-building measure or some confidence in the helpless people of Allahabad.
So the question I ask you is, shouldn't someone take responsibility of a state that is slowly now being pushed to the brink of anarchy?
Absolutely. The political masters, the political bosses and the local police officers cannot absolve themselves of the responsibility of this deteriorating law and order situation, and they have to take stock and come down heavily on those who are breaking law with absolute impunity as of now.
You know, and that's the question I ask you, sir. When an SSP from ETA is going to bend down and touch the feet of the likes of Ram Gopal Yadav from the Samajwadi Party, isn't this the message that goes to the fore, that anything goes?
Sycophancy has not done any good to any force earlier, and it's not going to do any good today. Sycophancy, in fact, should be toned down, and there should be a law, and there is a law, that you're not supposed to touch the feet of political bosses or anyone in uniform.
Sir, I appreciate if you would stay with us, because we are joined at this point of time by Lakshmikant Bajpai, BJP State Chief. He's on the phone line with us. Bajpai ji, यहाँ उत्तर प्रदेश में सिर्फ बंदूक का दबदबा दिख रहा है, ना कोई गवर्नेंस है, कंप्लीट लॉलेसनेस।
गवर्नेंस नाम की कोई चीज तो समाजवादी पार्टी की डिक्शनरी में नहीं है, और अगर मैं कहूं तो यह अतिशयोक्ति नहीं होगी कि अपराधी मस्त है और सामान्य जनता त्रस्त है। और इस केस में जो इलाहाबाद में घटना घटी है, ये तो सर्वथा अनुचित है कि कानून की समीक्षा करने वाले और समीक्षा करने में सहयोग करने वाले वकील साहबान अगर अपने काले कोट में खुलेआम गोली चलाएंगे, तब तो फिर एक कानून का कहीं शासन स्थापित हो पाएगा, इसकी कल्पना करना बिल्कुल बेकार है।
हमारे साथ बने रहिए, हमारे साथ विक्रम सिंह, फॉर्मर डीजीपी यूपी भी है। सर, I want to come back to you, Mr. Singh, at this point of time. And the question I ask you is, you have governed a state, at least in terms of administration, which is most difficult just by the look of the expanse of it all. If you just had to compare the situation of law and order in just the last years when the Samajwadi Party has taken over, what would you have to say?
The signal that has gone in the people and the forces that perhaps the local crime syndicates are the people who in fact are calling the shots, and the people are absolutely helpless spectators to the predators who in fact unleash a reign of terror on them. There seems to be some kind of an impunity, or in fact their protection that seems to be coming from the Samajwadi Party, that they have enjoy an immunity in their governance so that they cannot be touched even with a barge pole, and that is why this kind of a situation has arisen.
Mr. Singh, do stay on with us. Joining us at this point of time, Sudhindra Badoria from the BSP. We also have Lakshmikant Bajpai from the BJP. We are going to try and connect to the Samajwadi Party because they need to give us some answers at this point of time. But Mr. Badoria from the BSP, the question I ask you, sir, बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि अब उत्तर प्रदेश गुंडा राज है, जो मन आए बंदूक पिस्तौल निकाले गोली चलाए, कोई कुछ नहीं कर रहा।
ये समाजवादी पार्टी की जब सरकार होती है तो कोई नई चीज नहीं है। उसी इलाहाबाद शहर के अंदर उन्होंने एक समय में जब मुलायम सिंह मुख्यमंत्री थे तो हमारे एक विधायक राजू पाल के इसी तरह से और इससे भी बुरे हालातों में जो कानून व्यवस्था की स्थिति आप देख रहे हैं उस समय थी और हत्या की थी। आज जब से श्री अखिलेश यादव मुख्यमंत्री बने हैं उस दिन से लगातार आज हम देख रहे हैं पिछले 1.25 वर्षों के अंदर लगातार कानून व्यवस्था की हालत बिगड़ती गई है। दंगे हो रहे हैं, महिलाओं के साथ बलात्कार की घटनाएं बढ़ रही हैं, हत्याएं हो रही हैं, पकड़ उद्योग बढ़ रहा है। पूरा उत्तर प्रदेश की कानून व्यवस्था चरमरा गई है। इसीलिए बहन मायावती जी ने मांग किया था कि उत्तर प्रदेश में शासन अब राष्ट्रपति शासन लग जाना चाहिए, सरकार को बर्खास्त हो जाना चाहिए। पर क्योंकि कुछ ताकतें हैं जो नहीं होने दे रही हैं, मैं समझता हूं उत्तर प्रदेश के लोग इसकी वजह से बहुत परेशान हैं।
Mr. Bhaduria, the kind of examples that the Samajwadi Party is setting right now, within a day's notice, officers are transferred, they are suspended because they cannot find cattle which belongs to a particular minister. Then you have visuals of senior policemen kowtowing, bending down, touching the feet of their political masters. Wouldn't this be the ramifications of that and what we are seeing on our television screen?
I beg your pardon, is this question to me?
Yes, Mr. Bhaduria, it's pointed towards you, sir.
Yes, you see, as far as the incident in Rampur is concerned, people know that the police is playing to the tunes of these ministers. They are there to see that the Safai Mahotsav is taken care of, and the entire police force, administration is behaving like during the old feudal days where the Maharajas and the Zamindars used to enjoy life and the administration and all was around them, and the general people used to suffer. And this is what is happening in Uttar Pradesh. It is not a Samajwadi government, it is a Samantwadi government which is there in Uttar Pradesh, which means that a feudal, despotic feudal lord is governing the people of Uttar Pradesh.
Stay with us, Mr. Bhaduria. I'd like to bring in Vikram Singh, former DGP from Uttar Pradesh. You know, Mr. Singh, at this point of time, a lot of people are going to be pointing fingers at the policing in Allahabad. But when you look at the larger ramifications of it and what we've seen, how the police is being dealt by the government of Uttar Pradesh, what would you want to make of that, sir? Who takes responsibility?
Let me tell you that those who are the deviant officers who are not behaving as per the rules and traditions of the force, they are a microscopic minority. By and large, the IPS officers are supposed to, in fact, act as per the constitution, as per the requirements of law. If that is not happening, well, that is a danger signal, and you can indeed presume that this is the first danger signal that has arisen. They should first be accountable to law, come down heavily like a ton of bricks on all the lawbreakers, in fact, without fear or favor.
But how do they do that? How do they do that, Mr. Singh, when their fortunes are being held by their political masters? On a moment's notice, they are transferred, suspended.
The IPS officer, at best, if he is a person of integrity, he can at best be transferred. Nothing much can happen to him, let me tell you. But yes, when there is a rat race for cushy postings, that is where the danger begins. And they should be oblivious to extraneous political considerations. And I can assure you that by and large, most of the officers are in fact committed to the Constitution of India and not to their political bosses.
Mr. Singh, appreciate. Do stay on with us. We're going to try and connect to somebody from the Samajwadi Party. We've been trying right into the beginning of this bulletin. We are going to try and seek some answers from them as well. I'd like to cut across at this point of time. Lakshmi Kant Bajpai from the BJP is also on the phone line with us. Bajpai ji, आप जब एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी है जो जैसे कंट्रोल कर रही है वहां की जो ऑफिसर्स हैं, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर्स हैं, तो आगे जाकर वो समाज के लिए थोड़ा कुछ करेंगे क्योंकि उनका सारा कंट्रोल तो जो पॉलिटिक्स में है।
निश्चित तौर पर ऐसे अधिकारियों से जो पॉलिटिकल बॉसेस के पैर छूते हैं, जैसा आज मथुरा में हुआ, कुछ दिन पहले सफाई में हुआ, तो इनसे ये उम्मीद करना कि ये जनता की आकांक्षाओं के अनुरूप आचरण और व्यवहार करेंगे असंभव बात है। ये पॉलिटिकल बॉसेस की संतुष्टि के लिए बात करेंगे। जैसा भी विक्रम सिंह जी कह रहे थे, मैं उन्हें सुन रहा था। सच तो ये है कि अगर अफसर ये तय कर ले कि मुझे अपने वेतन में और कार कोठी बंगला जो अड़गली मुझे मिलता है उतने पर मुझे काम चलाना है, तो ट्रांसफर उसके लिए कोई बहुत बड़ा काम चिंता का विषय नहीं है। लेकिन जब वो अपनी आवश्यकता की ये सब सुविधा भी चाहिए, तनख्वाह पूरी बचत की चाहिए और खर्चा पूरे जो है अदरवाइज मीन्स से चाहिए, तब फिर उसकी मजबूरी है कि पॉलिटिकल बेसिस की बॉसेस की चाटुकारिता करे और फिर कानून व्यवस्था बने या न बने, इससे लेना देना नहीं है।
Many thanks, Mr. Lakshmikant Bajpai, for joining us. Also would like to thank Sudhindra Baduria from the BSP and Vikram Singh, former DGP, Uttar Pradesh. It's a state which has been submerged in lawlessness. We do hope that this special broadcast was watched by the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, and one wonders what he has to say of the state that he is running.